We're learning new details about Darlington Raceway's celebration, NASCAR's 75th anniversary, as the official throwback weekend of NASCAR approaches. The Darlington Raceway is teaming up with the South Carolina Department of Safety, and NASCAR Cup Series star is there to promote safe and sober driving on all South Carolina roads, encouraging South Carolinians to be careful when they get behind the wheel. Today, Governor McMaster expressing support not only for the safety initiatives, but for the Darlington Raceway itself.
Supporting Darlington is easy. It's historic. The tradition is strong. I can remember as a high school student listening to the races. And I would remind the young people, when you see these drivers going around that track, don't try to do that yourself unless you're on the track with them.
The governor added Darlington Raceway helps keep South Carolina on the map, and he looks forward to watching the racers this year.